Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. Nowadays I'm exploring the Flybywire Airbus A380, and in this regard I'm planning to make a series of videos of this plane so that I can just break down all the information related to a flight into different videos which will make it easy for you to look for a specific information on my channel. Before this, I've uploaded videos in which I've shown you how to install the Flybywire Airbus A380 for the Microsoft Flight Simulator 24 and how to connect the EFB or the electronic flight bag of this plane with the Simbrief and Navigraph account. Now in this video, I will show you how to configure the EFB and the FMS, which is the flight management system of this plane, for a flight. Then I will also be uploading videos in which I will show you how to perform takeoff, how to fly this plane on autopilot, and how to perform an ILS approach and landing. And I will also be uploading a complete tutorial of this plane. So I will give you all the links in the description and you can just go and follow any of the video as per your learning curve for this plane. So today I'm going to divide this video into 4 different sections. In the first section, I will show you the different options of the EFB. Then I will show you how to make a flight plan in the Simbrief, because every time when I'm making a video, I'm making it for the beginners with the little or no information of the flight simulator. So that's why I just try to take you through the basics. Then I will show you how to configure the EFB for the flight, and then how to configure the FMS for the flight. So if you press Shift 0, you will go to the EFB, and over here you can see the options. Although the default view is this, but if you press this, you will get the options. So let's go through the first option, which is aircraft options and pin programs. So over here you have the thrust reduction height. So this is the height at which you basically change the thrust levers position from toga or flex to temp to this option climb. So right now you can see the thrust levers had a very funny position. Anyhow, now the thrust levers are in the idle position, and if you move the thrust levers all the way forward, now they are set to this option toga, which is takeoff and go around. This is actually a maximum thrust for the takeoff. And if you want to put less pressure on the engines for the takeoff, if you want to have a reduced thrust for the takeoff, then flex to temp. So after this altitude, either 1000 or 1500, you move these thrust levers to climb. You will see a message over here. This part of the prime flight display is known as the FMA, which is the flight mode annunciator. And over here you will see this message blinking, lever climb. So then you have to move the thrust levers to this option, and then these thrust levers will remain in this position for the rest of the flight. So you can change this altitude. I keep it at 1000. Then this is the acceleration height. This is the height at which the plane transitions from the initial climb to the acceleration phase. And over here, during the initial climb, the vertical speed is really high. The plane is climbing at a very high rate. Then after this altitude, the climb rate reduces, and then the speed increases, and then you can start retracting the flaps and stuff like this. And this is the same thing for the engine out procedure. Now you have the secondary instruments over here. This is the second instrument. You can change the unit for the barometric pressure over here. So if I just only keep hectopascals, then you will see only the barometric pressure only in hectopascals. But if I change it to hectopascals and inches in mercury, then you will see both the units. So you can just change the settings over here. Then for the secondary instrument, you can have the metric altitude. You can change it, and this altitude will be in metric units. Like right now you can see it's appearing in meters. And if I change it, then you will see it in feet. That's it. Then if you want to change the units from the kilogram to pounds, you can then use this option. I use kilograms. And now you have the automatic callouts. At different altitudes, you will have different callouts. So let's say at 2500, you will hear this callout, 2500. Then at 1000, you will hear this callout. Nothing at 2000, but if you want to hear a callout at 2000, you can just turn it on. Let's go back. Now the same options. Default barometric unit. You can keep it at auto. So as per the region, the barometric units will automatically be selected. So right now I'm doing this. Right now you cannot see anything because I haven't carried out the iris alignment. But you can change the units. So by default, if you want to have inches of mercury, you can do it, or hectopascals, you can change it, but keep it at auto. So it will automatically select this unit as per the region in which you are flying. Then these are the settings for the Simbrief. If you want to have the MCDU on your tab or on your mobile, then you go through these settings. There is this video on my channel. I will just look for it, and I actually did many months back, I think more than a year back, in which I've shown you how to do connect the mobile phone or the tab with this Simbrief. So I will give you a link if I can just find it. But otherwise, for this video, I'm just going to leave this section, but I will make a separate video for this plane as well. Now for the throttle calibration, you can do the throttle calibration over here. I'm using the Thrustmaster TCA quadrant, and I have actually carried out this configuration for the Airbus A380. So there's this video on my channel. I will just upload that video, and then you can just configure the thrust levers as per that plane, the A380, and they are also applicable on this plane. But it's only applicable for Thrustmaster TCA quadrant and the side stick. So let's go back and pilot seat for control. So you can either keep it at auto or left by default or right. So it's totally up to you. And auto cabin lighting, you can just turn it on, and the cabin lights will be automatically selected. Otherwise, you can just change the brightness from here. It's applicable if you're flying in the night. Now for the realism, you have this option, ADRS align time. This is Air Data Inertial Reference System. This is actually a system which provides GPS coordinates to the Flight Management Guidance System, FMGS. It takes 6 to 7 minutes if it's set to this option. And instant, obviously it's done instantly, and fast, it takes round about 2 to 3 minutes. So if I just go back, you will see these 3 knobs over here. These are for the ADRS alignment, and you can set these to nav 1, 2, and then 3. This is the sequence that you have to follow. You can see 1, 2, and 3. And now you can see that there is some information on the prime flight display and the navigation display. I'm getting this error. I think it will be fixed with some updates. I'm also using the 4K development version for the Flybywire Airbus A380, but still I get this option. Anyhow, this error, not the option. So this is the DMC self-test time, display management computer, set to real. So once you start the plane, the screens will take roughly 40 seconds to like 50 seconds. Then the boarding time, you can change it. You can keep it at real, fast, or instant. But once you're getting the payload from the flight plan, again, you can change the boarding time from here, real, fast, or instant. That's it. So if you go back, you can then see this option, autofill checklist. So there is this checklist in the EFB. You can just like check the items over here and uncheck them. That's it. And one more thing, this plane also has a checklist. So if you go to the pedestal, let me just show you over here. You see this button, checklist, and this will appear over here on the upper ECAM, which is the electronic centralized aircraft monitor. And then you can just scroll through this checklist and using this button, and then you can just like select any item and you can carry out the checks. Then separate tiller from rudder inputs. If you're using a separate controller for the tiller, then it's applicable. You can see this controller. This is actually the tiller. This controls the nose wheel during the taxi. So if you turn it on and you don't have a separate controller for the tiller, then you won't be able to move this plane around. So let's keep it off. So now top of descent pause. If you turn it on, then once the plane is at top of descent, then the simulation will stop. This is unrealistic again. And automatic step climb, again, keep it unchecked. And that's it. So let's go to this third-party options. This is where you can connect this EFB with the Simbrief account and with the Navigraph account. So if you have a Simbrief account, you can get this ID from the account settings, and that's it. And then automatically import Simbrief data. You can turn it on, but anyhow, you can just like click this option and you can get the Simbrief flight plan. That's it. Let's go back. And this is for the GSX Pro. for the ground services. So you can synchronize this plane with the GSX Pro. Right now, I'm not using this option, although I have GSX Pro, as you can see, it's there. But I will make a separate video for this, for the ground services. And then for the audio settings, you can just change the settings, and for the audio, that's it. And then you have the flypad. This is actually known as the flypad or the EFB. And then you can change the language over here and automatically show on-screen keyboard, so you don't have to use your keyboard. You can use the on-screen keyboard, let's say if you are using VR. So it's really helpful. Then auto brightness, that's good. Battery life simulated, yes. So right now it's on charge, it's good. And show status bar flight progress indicator, which is on as well. And show colored raw meter. I've turned it on. So you can also get the weather information over here. And plus the Navigraph charts, you can just access the Navigraph charts over here. That's it. And the time displayed, so you have the local time and the Zulu time. So right now I've changed it to like 6 in the morning. I'm not using the real time because it was very sunny right now. It's summer afternoon and the EFB was like this. So that's why I was like making this video at this time so that you can easily see the flypad. And then you have the theme, blue, dark and light. Oops. Blue is good. So you can just go back now. And over here now you can configure the EFB if you have the flight plan and the Simbrief. So now I'm going to go to Simbrief right now. And I will just make a flight plan over there. So if you are familiar with that process, you can skip that part. Otherwise, you can just go through it. So this is simbrief.com, where you can make flight plans and then you can import the flight plans in the EFB. Over here, you can just create your login for free. But if you need the latest ARAC cycle, which is Aeronautical Information Regulation and Control information, which has the information related to the airways and the waypoints, then you should have a Navigraph subscription. As you can see, the ARAC cycle is updated because I have a Navigraph subscription. And if you have a Navigraph subscription, then you can also access the airport charts. So you can create a new flight over here. If you click this option, you will be able to make a flight plan. And for the departure, you can search for the airport, or if you know the ICAO code, you can just type it over here. So let's say if I press this option and I write, let's say, Dubai. If you don't know the ICAO code, then you can easily do it. And now you have different airports. This is the new one, yeah, OMDW. And this is the old one, which is the current one. But soon the Emirates will be moving to this airport. So let's select this. Now you can see, and I'm going to Islamabad, so I know the ICAO code. So this is OPIS, and I can just enter this over here. Alternate airport will be automatically selected, but let's say if I select OPLA, which is Lahore, close to Islamabad, then I can select the alternate airport. Then in the aircraft type, you have to select the Airbus A380-800. And then all the fuel calculations will be carried out based on this aircraft type. And the variant, this is the Flybywire, so I'll select this. Now cost index is actually a number which determines the rate of fuel burned. So higher the number, the plane's range reduces, but the plane goes at a high speed. Let's say if you're using 80, 100, 150, or let's say 200. And if you're using 10, 20, 30, then the speed of the plane decreases, but the range increases because the plane is burning less fuel. So I always keep this at auto. Then over here, you can change the units. Right now, the units are selected as kilograms, so I can just keep it like this. And everything just same. The scheduled block time is 2 hours and 45 minutes for this flight. The departure runway and the arrival runway is automatically selected. You can also look at the weather, so you can get the weather report. That's it. So whatever the runways are being used right now, you can just like keep it like this, and the Simbrief will automatically select. Otherwise, you can just change them if you want. Again, for the altitude, I will just keep it at auto. So the Simbrief will automatically select a cruising altitude. It's better to keep it like this. Passengers, I will select full passengers, 484 passengers, and freight. You can keep it at auto. Then you have this option, fuel planning. You can carry extra fuel if you want. Let's say if you want to carry 30 minutes of extra fuel for the alternate, or let's say you want to carry 45 minutes of extra fuel, you can do this, and that's it. Now, as you have selected the runways and the airport for the arrival and for the departure, you have the flight plan, which is over here. So this flight plan has 4 different parts. The starting point is the SID, which is standard instrument departure. This is STAR, which is standard terminal arrival. And anything in between is waypoint and airways. So all the alphabetical values, these are your waypoints for the flight. And in alphanumeric, you have the airways. So you can see the waypoints right now. And if I click this option, you will be also able to see the airways. That's it. So multiple airways. So what is a SID and what is a STAR? Just to give you an introduction. So let's say the first point after the SID is DAVMO, which is over here. And rest of the waypoints, they are not mentioned over here in the flight plan because they're part of this SID, DAVM, 4F. This not only guides the plane during the takeoff by specifying waypoints, but also the standard instrument departure has altitude and speed constraints, if there are any. And similarly for the arrival, you can see that after this point, Kalbi. Yeah. Now the plane has a certain flight plan and the plane will follow this. This is actually part of the STAR, which is standard terminal arrival. But when you are flying to Islamabad, it's not correct because this is runway. Yeah, it's 10 right and left. So this is runway 10 right and 10 left over here. So it first of all goes to Isidore and then it flies back. So I have to correct this thing as well. So anyhow, so this was a little bit of introduction of the flight plan and the SID and the STAR. So once I'm configuring the FMS, then I will just explain more things over there. Now again, you can press Shift 0 and you can have the view of the EFB. You can import the Simbrief flight plan. Oh, I think it has picked up the previous flight plan that I have made. So I forgot to mention this point. You have to generate the flight plan. Otherwise, it will pick up the previous flight plan if you have already made a flight plan. So many flight plans. So once this flight plan is generated, then you can just import this flight plan over there. So let me just click this option again, and then we have the latest flight plan. You can see from Dubai to Islamabad. And the time is also mentioned. You can see the weather information is here. You can change the format of the weather. And that's it. Let's keep it like this. It's easy to read. Now you can carry out the ground services. You can see that the ground power unit is already connected. You have the external power from the ground power unit. And then you can connect the jet bridge. And you can have, let's say, the baggage. And that's it. And the doors will open automatically. I go out, you will see that the jet bridge is getting connected. That's good. And the cargo doors are also opening. Now you can get the fuel for this plane. So you can change the refuel time, real, fast or instant. So the time is given. If you select it to real, it will take 27 minutes. If you can wait for so long, then it's okay. Otherwise, I keep it at instant. So 50,600 kilograms of fuel required for this flight. And this is 50 tons, 50.6 tons rather. So let's do the refueling. Now you can see this fuel over here as well. If I get rid of the checklist as well, not required. Yeah, you can see the fuel on board, 50.6 tons. That's it. And now for the payload, for the cargo and for the passengers. So again, real 40 minutes, fast it will take 8 minutes, and instant. It's done instantly. And you can press this button, and now you have the full passengers and the cargo is there, and you have the zero fuel weight. This is the weight of the plane without the fuel, but it includes passengers and cargo. So this is 351,443 kilograms, which is 351.5 tons. That's it. So this is how you configure the EFB for the flight. Now if I press shift 5, I will have the view of the FMS. So over here you have to start the initialization, or rather I think this view is more comfortable, because then I will be able to see this keyboard as well. So over here you can just scroll through different options in the FMS. You can look at this surveillance page, and if you don't see the FMS, you can select FMS 1. Similarly over here you can just do this thing. Now you have to get the company flight plan, so just press this button and you will have the company flight plan. Then you can just insert it. Now you can see this message, company flight plan received, waiting for insertion. You can click it again and then you can insert. And now you can see the flight number is there, and the destination and the departure, it's there. Alternate is shown. And you have the cruising altitude, which is 39,000 feet for this flight, and cost index is really high, so plane will go at a very high speed, and that's it. So now for the trip wind, you have to enter the average wind. So if you go to this EFB, you can see the operational flight plan. So this operational flight plan is very interesting. It has all the information, routing, the weather, and different weather conditions at different waypoints and stuff like this. And this is the summary. So if you don't know how to read the operational flight plan, you can go to the Simbrief site, and over there you have proper instructions how to read this operational flight plan. But for this video, whatever is required, I will just let you know. So over here you can see this average wind is shown. This is the average wind's direction, and you can see the speed of the wind. So it is 10 knots. So I can just go and enter 10 over here. If you are flying the enables 350, then Airbus 350, then it automatically picks up the wind information. But right now, this wind is not available. And then you can see the iris alignment is now complete. For iris 1, 2, and 3, you can see the position is there, and that's it. So accuracy is also there. And you have to actually then now configure the FMS as per this sequence. And one more thing, you can just scroll through different options over here on the FMS by using these buttons. So let's say you can look at the flight plan, initialization, and nav aids, and performance and stuff like this. So I can go back to this page, and now I have to set the departure and the arrival. So for the departure, if you go over here, scroll down, you will see this runway is appearing over here, which is 30 right for Dubai, and DAVM 4F. So DAVMO 4F. So let's select 30 right. And DAVMO 4F, temporary flight plan insert, and that's it. Now you can click this arrival airport, OPIS, and you can select the runway. So it's 10 right and Kalmi 1A. So let's select this. Right, approach, ILS. Then you can select different approaches, whether you want to go for RNAV or VR or ILS. So this is ILS 10, right? Why? This one. Now via, I will just select none. I will show it to you why I've selected none. And star is Kalmi 1A. And press temporary flight plan. That's it. Now, interestingly, in this plane, you can scroll through this flight plan over here. So if you go to this option over here, you will see this plan. Now you can just look at the flight plan. You can zoom in and zoom out using this knob. And now if you press this down button, you can scroll through the flight plan to see whether it's good or not. So now you can see it's kind of a very strange flight plan. After this point, Kimmel, the plane is going to this point, and then so and so forth, and ISDO, and then there is a discontinue. Or although you have to land at this runway, so you should be like approaching the runway from this direction, and then plus there is no connection as well because there is a discontinuity. You can delete this discontinuity if you want. And now, let's say if I zoom out, you can see the plane will go to this point ISDO and then it will just go back. It's kind of a very strange approach. It should not be like this. So it's not, you can see, it's not like this. So you can delete the waypoints. You can change the flight plan. It's not necessary that the one that you have in the FMS, you just have to go with it. So if I also get the Navigraph and if I open the arrival in the approach plate, I will just show you a few things. Let's wait for the Navigraph to be loaded. Let me first of all just change size. That's it. So let's go back to flights and import flight and from Simbrief. And let me also select the approach plate. So approach and 10 right. This is the one. So I'll also pin it over here. Now for the arrival, you can see you have this arrival to ISDO because this is via ISDO. As you were selecting this, you can see via. I did not even select ISDO, but it's automatically selected because this is how the flight plan is being made. And then you have this approach. So approach is like this. So this is not a good flight plan. That's how I just kept this as none. Star yes selected. Transition again. This is actually a point where the approach finishes and the approach starts and the arrival finishes. So this is actually the transition. So right now you cannot select it, but although you can select via. So if I insert temporary and if I just fix this option, then what I'll do is this. There's another discontinuity as well. Now you can see it's appearing. You can just like delete this discontinuity, but for this first you have to do this insert and then delete it. And then again you can delete this discontinuity. And after ISDO again discontinuity because I selected the runway again. So that's it. Now after Kimmel, I will delete everything. So this waypoint, insert, delete, ISDO not required. And that's it. Now you can see that this flight plan is not correct. Now you can simply just arrive and go for the approach and landing. And that's it from this direction instead of, going all the way like this. So my purpose of using this kind of method was to just show you that how you modify the flight plan. So remember this thing that for different airports, there are different approaches and different arrival procedures. This was for Islamabad. Maybe if you have selected an airport, it has a different approach and a different arrival. So you have to modify the flight plan according to your airport. So that's why it's really important to basically consult the charts. You should be looking at the star and the approach plate as well. If you don't have the Navigraph subscription, you can use the built-in feature of the Microsoft Flight Simulator to access the chart. Let's say if I go to this option Flight Planner, and over here if I go to this option Flight Plan, I don't have to make a flight plan over here. Just simply type in the airport. Let's say even in the departure airport I can enter OPIS, because I'm just accessing the charts. And over here you can see the charts are here. Now for the arrival, you can see for 10 right you have the different arrivals, and you can see after Kimmel, this is the runway, whether you should be going over here, you should be landing directly and stuff like this. And similarly for the approaches, you can just like select an approach plate. So you can also look at the charts from this option. So that's how you make different flight plans, and you modify them over here in the FMS. Let's say if I'm doing a flight to Qatar, there is always a discontinuity, because this approach is flown using the heading given by the ATC. So I have to delete the discontinuity, or I have to do a flight with the ATC to basically follow the heading and then land. So I will also make a video in which I will show you that if there is a discontinuity in the approach, how you will fly this discontinuity with the ATC as well. That's it. So now let's go back to initialization and do the fuel and load. So you have to enter the zero fuel weight, center of gravity, and the block fuel. So let's look at the zero fuel weight. So go back to this option, and in the payload, this is 351.5. You always round up, because it's better to have higher settings for the takeoff than to have lower settings for the takeoff. Let's say if I'm entering more zero fuel weight, then more speed will be required. So that's why you should have higher speeds for the takeoff as a precaution. So that's why you always round up for the flight. Now you have the zero fuel weight center of gravity. So this is 34.08 or 34.1. You can just enter it over here, 34.1. And the block fuel is, if you go to the fuel, you will see 50.6. And that's it. Now you will see that all the calculations will be carried out automatically, and plus you will have extra fuel, 14.6 tons of extra fuel, in case you want to go and land at the alternate airport. Now let's go back to initialization, and over here you will see this option, takeoff performance. So click this, and now you have to enter this information for the takeoff. Now you can get this information from Simbrief. Whether to show you this thing over here, let's go to Simbrief, and I will just show you how you can get the takeoff performance from there. So in the Simbrief, you can see this option, performance and tools, and you click this, and then you can just click this option, populate from last flight, and you'll get all the information from for the flight, and you can populate weather. Right now you can see that the flap settings are set to optimum. So the flaps can be either set to 1, 2, or 3. So optimum, let this takeoff performance calculator do the calculation based on the optimum flaps. Let's not restrict it. Thrust setting, toga or flex to temp, you're given this option. Bleed is auto, so let's keep it at auto. And anti-ice settings off, because I'm not flying in icing conditions, so we can keep it at off. And you can see the wind temperature and the pressure and the surface condition is already selected. And that's it. Populate weather and calculate. Now you can get all these calculations over here. Now in the simulator, I have this Simbrief dispatch system. So if I open the electronic flight bag of the Microsoft Flight Simulator, I can access the Simbrief dispatch system. And there's this video in which I've shown you how to install this Simbrief dispatch system. I will give you a link in the description, and you can just go and follow that. Over here you can see Even the performance tab is also here. So if you install this, you can have this over here, which is easy because then you can just like enter all the information. So populate from last flight, and I can again change the settings, populate weather, and calculate. And that's it. So you have the different speeds, V1, VR, and V2. This is actually a speed for the decision for the takeoff. So if you want to abort the takeoff, you have to abort the takeoff before the speed. But after the speed, then you have to take off. Because then if you try to stop, you will run short of the runway. This is the speed at which you take the plane up in the air. And this is the speed you want to attain in case of engine failure. So let's enter these three speeds over here. 143 knots. And then you have VR, 150 knots. And then you have V2, which is 155. And that's it. Now, for the thrust settings, as I told you before, takeoff and go around is maximum thrust, but you want flex. So for the flex, the assumed temperature is 66 degrees. This is actually a method in which the takeoff performance calculator assumes a very high temperature, and the FMS thinks that it's really hot outside, so it automatically calculates a reduced thrust for the takeoff to put less stress on the engines. So 66 degrees, press enter, and that's it. Packs will be on for the takeoff and anti-ice will be off. That's it. And now you have to enter this option for the trimmable horizontal stabilizer. So this is the trimmable horizontal stabilizer. So for the takeoff, whether to pitch up or down for the takeoff as per the center of gravity of the plane, and how much to pitch up and down. So this is calculated based on the gross weight center of gravity. So if you want to get the gross weight center of gravity, just go to payload and press this button, and you will get the gross weight center of gravity, which is 36.4. So let's enter 36.4 over here, and that's it. Now you have the thrust reduction altitude. You can enter it over here, 1000, although you have also entered it over there in the EFB, but you can just change it over here, 1000, 1500. This is the acceleration altitude, as I told you before. This is the altitude at which the plane will transition from the initial climb to the acceleration phase. And then you have the transition altitude. This is the altitude at which you have to change the barometric pressure from the given one to the standard. So if I press this, it will move to standard barometric pressure. So after this 13,000 feet, you will do this. So if you open the Navigraph charts, you can get the transition altitude from the departure. So if I get the SID, it's mentioned over here. You can see transition altitude 13,000 feet, which is correct. So now you have configured the FMS for a flight. As a beginner, I think this will be more than enough for you to carry out a flight. Otherwise, there are many things that you can do, but it's just like something additional I'm telling you. So for the nav aids, if you go to the initialization page, you can enter the VRAM frequency. So let's say if the GPS system fails of this plane, you can use the VRAM navigation for the flight. Then you have the secondary flight plan, which is not accessible in this plane. So you can just like skip this part. Otherwise, this is more than enough to configure the FMS for the flight. And now you will be able to take this plane up in the air. Let me just take the thrust levers back to the idle position. So that's it for the EFB and the FMS. Now you will be able to configure it, and I will now be making videos in which I will show you how to start this plane from the cold and dark state and how to take this plane up in the air, flight it on autopilot, and perform an ILS approach and landing. So I will upload all the videos on my channel, and I will give you links in the description, so you can just go and follow any of the link. If you have got any questions, you can ask me in the comment section, or if you want to add anything to this video, the comment section is there for you. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day. Hope to see you soon.